Welcome to Entrepreneurship Talk with MSN. I am your host, Mrs. Simon Lobu, and today we are joined by Thembela, um, who is the CEO and the founder of Digital Estate Solutions. I came across her profile on LinkedIn because I saw that she was doing amazing stuff. I saw her videos that she was doing, advising people about digital stuff and how you can make money online and all of that. So I was quite inspired, and then I asked her to come and join us today. So welcome, Thembela. I'm really honored to have you on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate being here.
Yeah, sure. So please tell me, who is Thembela and where is she from? Where did her career start?
Okay, so Thembela is a 22-year-old Zulu woman from Durban, KwaZulu-Natal. I schooled in Durban North College, predominantly an Afrikaans school. After that, I went to DUT to pursue a BTech in journalism. So my background is pretty corporate. And now I run my own social media management and virtual assistant company that is still fairly new. We're barely 1 month old, and it's been a very rocky road. I will not will not lie, but it's also been a very rewarding one as well.
Right. So what really prompted your mind to start this business? What really pushed you to start it?
So basically, during my schooling at DUT, I've never really been a person who has not been working. So
Right.
whether it's volunteering or having a job that actually pays, I've always just preached myself because I knew that once you come out of university, there's this huge corporate life and there's this big job market that asks you to have all of this experience. But if you are a student, where are you going to get 5 years of experience straight off the bat if you're just fresh out of university? So basically, with me, I just started volunteering for the university online newspaper as early on as my first year. Did some volunteering at the online radio station, did a bit of work for the internal communications department at our university, and then I was able to go from there to be a digital consultant for a global video publisher. And I think that's where really my love for everything online and where I fully became a digital enthusiast. I think it really just sparked my interest because we spend so much time online and there are people who are making and building their legacies using social media. So I thought, why not me? Why not don't I use the skill set that I have to help other people achieve their online goals? So basically, what I specialize in is helping small business owners reach more customers and grow their brand online and just grow their businesses online. So it's very strategical. It takes a lot of research, content planning, and at first glance, you would think it's just posting and putting captions on like Instagram and Facebook, but there's a science to social media that is very psychological. At the end of the
Right.
day, it's marketing. You need to be able to tap into people's feelings and make them
Right.
feel secure or like they can trust that specific
Yeah.
brand. So it's very psychological, and it's ever evolving. So as we speak, I'm doing pauses because there's new updates to platforms. There's new things that are coming out that you need to know how they work. And you
Mm.
can't really fall behind. You'd like people to
Right.
trust your expertise. You'd like people to know that, hey, Yazin, I know what I'm doing. Here's my credentials. I've been doing it for so long.
Yeah.
So, let me do it for you because I know. But that's basically where I started with the whole social media management and virtual assistant side.
Right. Amazing stuff. So, do you think there's a market in South Africa for this business? Because what I'm seeing is it's an international business, so to say. You don't really have
Mm,
to be in a certain location to service a certain market. You can literally reach out to anybody out there. But in South Africa, do you think people understand digital marketing and what it is and what it can offer to their businesses?
I think in South Africa, we have a lot of professionals that understand digital marketing. There are people who've been in this industry for longer than I have been born, you know.
Right.
So I think there's a big understanding when it comes to the theory of how things really function and, you know, just the experience. Because with experience comes wisdom. I'll not ever deny that. You know, people who have been doing this for longer than what I have, they always sort of have the upper hand. But I think there's a big lack of people who are my age and people who have my expertise who are actually in the communities that people are marketing to. So Gen Z, a lot
Yeah.
of yeah, a lot of people market to the younger audience, but they don't really know where they are, what are they doing, what are they speaking about, what makes them tick and what makes them respond. So for me, I found out that like as much as it's very, I will not lie, it's very, as I'm still new and I need more social proof, it's a bit harder finding South African clients, but it's very easy finding clients that are based in other parts of the world because this is something that they are already used to. They absolutely understand the need of having a social media manager and a virtual assistant because just being a virtual assistant, it's not just about answering emails and scheduling people's appointments, but it's
Right.
having a function in a business that you're taking care of so many things. And now the people who are the founders, the owners, and the people who work full time on that business can have time to focus on other things. So I'm here to save you time and I'm here to do the work that you know that you can't really do as well, but you know
Mm.
that if it's done, it's going to save you so much time and you're going to be able to focus in the other things. So as an entrepreneur, you're not going to be good at everything. You're not going to be good at everything. And that's one thing that I've learned very quickly. But because I'm still a one woman show and I do everything myself, I'm going to have to learn how to at least get the bare minimum done.
No,
So, yeah.
yeah. So while on that point, you're doing videos online and you're
Mm,
doing quite interesting videos. And I particularly like this one that you did. Like I came across your video on TikTok where I think you were critiquing or you were reviewing rather this one I may forget the name of the app if it's an app or an online platform that you were critiquing. I think you spoke
Facebook.
about 3 points advantages, and you spoke about
Yeah.
I think another 3 disadvantages of of that platform. So
Mm.
what made you start those videos, and why do you think there is a need for you to educate people about all these systems or apps or financial support or whatever that stream of income that is out there? Why do you think there is a need, and like what are you getting out of it?
Well, for me, I don't really get much out of it. The only thing that I can say that I do is I never speak about a third stream of income that I have not tried out because I think it's
Right.
very important to have tried and tested it so you can speak from a place of experience and not just that you heard so and so can do this and that's why this is great. So the only sorts of side hustles that I say, hey, this is what I did, this is what's good about it and this is what's bad about it, so that people can make their own decisions and do some research. But for
Right.
me, it just started with I needed to, because I do this full time. I work for my business full time, and I needed a different stream of income to keep my business alive. I needed money to pay for my website. I needed money to help me with my brand design. There's so many things. I needed money to buy the router that I'm using as we speak. So
Mm.
I needed to figure out what exactly can I do on my own time to help me get this profit coming in. Not everyone is fortunate enough to get business loans. I operate from my home, my parents' house. I'm still very much a kid. Yabona as we speak, ngibeke rice. Ngenza sure ukuthi ngiyacwenga so that's not saying ngiqedile lana
Yeah.
ngiyofuthumezo wasebusuku and then people can, have dinner. So I still have a lot of daughter responsibilities and I figured out ukuthi I stopped working for hashtag our stories in January. Things were
Mm.
changing. I saw that I think it's better for my energy to be put for this baby, but I didn't even develop the baby until like December. But I knew that something was missing, man, and I think my energy would be better trying to figure out what is going on. Plus, the
Right.
pandemic happened, so things were just very up in air. So after just sitting at home, applying every single day, there was not a time where I was not applying. There was not a time where I was not writing a cover letter to go out somewhere. So it was more like, okay, I see all these job openings and I know I can do it. Like I know this is a job that I can do. But obviously they don't know that. They just see with
Yeah.
oh, okay, so we're looking for a
And
senior
I
position.
experience. Mm,
We're looking for a senior position,
yeah.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So that's why I was like, then let me just start my own. And then I started my own, and that's where I was like, I need to be able to make money and make money that doesn't take me away from my business too much. As much
Right.
as finding a corporate full-time job is amazing, and if one came along that did not let me drop my business and pay me really well, I would jump on it because money is money and I need to be able to sustain myself.
Right.
But making money online was the easiest thing that I could possibly do with the skills that I have. So I just started looking up courses that I needed to do. I did a bunch of them. I got Google certified. Then I was like, okay, so now I have all of this wealth of information. What can I do that will bring me in money? I opened a Fiverr account. I opened an Upwork account. I started streaming. I started writing, copywriting for different people. I just started doing so many projects, and I'm like, as a person being get mind, it's more like an entity working. So why not formalize it? So a lot of the things that I was doing on my own before having my business are still the services that I offer underneath my business now. So it just took a little bit of like nudging and being innovative and seeing that like what can I do from the comfort of my own home with the internet connection that we have at that time. And laptop yama because AI stopped working, so I needed to borrow my mom's laptop. So
Mm.
yes, it's
You
very
know,
piece by piece.
as Thembela, I like what you're talking about because me now when I started my business, well, way back in 2014, you know, those were the skills very ekade ngiwafunde esikoleni. I'm a software developer by profession, ne? Ngenza
Mm.
i-IT. And then there were a lot of people who were coming to me, but njalo nje uma wenze IT, you would know ukuthi let's bethi kuwe, hey, awusikhandele na i-laptop ifile. Can you do this? Can you do that for me? I was like, oh my goodness. I didn't go to
Yeah.
school to fix laptops. That's not the only thing that I'm doing, especially if you are in a software development field. You don't even fix laptops. That's not what we are taught. So why do you like when I assume you go to you fix
What
laptops?
that's
I want
IT. They
inform
just hear IT and they think fix this laptop.
exactly. So that's where, and I like how you started your business because you were doing it there in your personal space, and then you saw with okay, Yazin, I can actually make money and officialize or formalize this business. So I like that because song is Galaranja. That's how I started my business, and that's how I got my clients. And my biggest client, go umuntu owayeseduze nami owabona this guy ne-IT uyakwazi ukwenza website ngathi ya ngiyakwazi wathi okay do the website for me kanti esikole singaka esiqala from grade R to grade 12 so that was my start so I
That's
like
amazing.
that experience ukuthi nami I can actually relate to what you're saying so I have to
Mm.
ask you everyone has a downfall wabo so what is your biggest failure in life where have you like what about you damn
Yeah.
like I'm on my rock bottom yeah. Things are not working and how did
For
you
me,
overcome that
I don't want to get dark, but for me, my biggest constant battle is my mental health. So I have like bad anxiety and things like that. So I always constantly fight to take myself out of that space where I feel like, I have imposter syndrome or I'm not good enough to do this and that. It's just a constant battle of trying to reach the standards that I set for myself that are incredibly high. As we speak, I am exhausted. I'm very tired, but only because the client that I have, they based that side. So my alarm rings every hour ipsuk. So I have one at 1, 2, 3, so that I can just wake up and check my emails to make sure that nothing has come through that I haven't answered.
mm,
Um, so it's that, and I remember having like a very dark time during the period of January all the way to December, because I just started my business in December, where every single day you would wake up in the morning and there was a, unfortunately, in your email, you'd wake up and there was a, we've moved on without hiring process, and we encourage you to apply later. But I didn't even read them. I just used to look for them, unfortunately, and then toss my phone to the side. I'm like, that's all I really need to see. So I think for me, it was that period of nothingness and just feeling very stuck. I even used to think that it's better being at school, because with school you work hard and you see impumelelo yokusebenza kwakho. But when you're in a place where no matter how hard you work, you still keep hitting a brick wall. For me, I think that was one of my lowest points. And looking back, I will not say that I have officially climbed out that hole, because everything is still so new. I'm still learning so many things every single day, and it's just a battle. I haven't figured out the system that will work for me effortlessly, like that I won't have to always check on my website what's wrong, why is my leads not converting, how can I fix this and that. There's always so it's, when you're still in the fresh stages of everything, like everything is feeling very overwhelming. And at the end of the day, nights when you're just sitting with your thoughts and you're like, can I really do this? Like, what the hell have I gotten myself into? There's so many people that is expecting so much from me. And even Ubekai, I'm the eldest at home. I'm 22. I'm gonna turn 23, and it's like they are looking at me. Since you're supposed to have made something out of your life, like obviously I don't support anyone, but also I don't want to be that, like, quote unquote failure. Like I want to be able to be an example for my younger siblings. So it's a very big mental battle. And I'm always like, once I get to the point where I can afford therapy, I'll just be
You'll
like,
go for it.
like, once I can afford therapy, then like, why not? There's so many things in my mind that I think would really need me to start looking at it like, okay, Sissy, so why do you think this way? Why do you have imposter syndrome? Why do you have like these random intrusive thoughts that are just absolutely awful, that are like, yeah, no, why do you even think that you can? Those little evil. I think personally for me, that's my biggest battle. That's what I struggle with every single day and try to overcome. Because it's almost like, even if I reach a goal that no one really knows about, did I really reach it though? Can't I do any better? So it's really just that for me.
To be honest, I think at the age 22, I think you have done so much for yourself. And I'm really happy for this interview, Esienza, because you are going to inspire a lot of young people. Omunye umuntu at the age 22 is still thinking about having umsebenzi and all of that, and stuck. At least although your eyes and the mind is all over, you're still looking and whatever, but you have something going on. And ingqondo yakho, it's not only have ukuthi nje there's so much happening, but it's good things. You are constantly working on improving yourself, so which I truly admire, and that's what we are all battling with, actually. Sonke silwa la engqondweni zethu ukuthi I want to be better, I want to be better. And that's what life is about. Life is a constant change. It is about constant changes. So now I'm actually glad. I have to put you on the spot again. What
What?
books what books or podcast are you listening to that really shape your life? That
Very online sort of person. There's one book that I had that spoke about how to spend your money like an adult. So I needed that to get financially literate. I got it as a gift from my lecturer, and he was like, "Here you go." Yeah. I don't know if maybe he saw me spend my money irresponsibly, but I have that one. And then I
so what's
listened
the
to.
book
It's
again?
called.
What's the name of the book?
It says how to spend your money like an adult, if an adult. But it's very yeah, it's very money savvy. It's possibly also the reason why when I first got Imali Nkudwana, because I wrote for Vice, and when I wrote for Vice, they paid me about 2 months later, and I was like, that money that's coming in, I'm not even gonna touch it. I'm just gonna invest it straight into my business. So it changed my way that I saw money, and instead of like spending it on things that have immediate gratification, I spent it on assets that will continue to help me achieve the goals that I want. Obviously, I wish it was like money coming in that's like houses, assets that can pay me monthly and stuff people in there for rent, but slowly but surely. And then for mindset, I am on this app called Clubhouse. They have this morning. It always happens in the morning. It's a morning virtual event. It's called the Millionaire Mindset. So
Right.
basically, it's everyone wapesheya who has had an immense amount of success with their businesses, and they're just answering questions. They're speaking to young entrepreneurs, people who are having problems. They're just giving out valuable advice that you would not find anywhere else, and they're sharing inspirational stories. So that's one thing. I really like to put myself in environments where there are people who have achieved the goals that I still am trying to achieve, so that I can see that it's doable, and who normalize success, like who won't keep on complimenting you or making you feel like you've done a big thing when you've done a little thing. Like yes, you're moving forward, but sometimes we get so wrapped up in our small achievements that we forget the main goal that we're working towards. So once
Yeah.
you're around really people who normalize success and who will be like, oh, so you plan to make 6 figures by, by June? That's great. Cool. We'll see you in June. No, no, to 6 figures. What June? He has 6 figures in my lean. I ain't getting it, bro. I ain't getting it. Come on. Yeah, bring you. So
Yeah.
it's very like I like being in spaces like that are not only pushing you to be better, because I mean I have very supportive friends and I have very supportive families and everything, so it's supports swelly endly. I'm just saying that I also want to sneak peek kulaba abahambile indlela to see how did they, when they came across this challenge, how did they get over it? Because being an entrepreneur, I honestly think that it's harder than having a 9 to 5. And at least on a 9 to 5 for the corporate job, we have to see again and it's a certain time, it's in a certain time, and I get look at it's also A B C D E. But when you're on your own, you don't get to figure win. You don't get to figure win, and you're sort
True.
of always stressed. But it's good stress because it's stress for your business. It's just to help you get better. But yeah,
Mm.
so it's the book, The Millionaire Mindset, and then there's this podcast on Apple Podcasts. It's called Buffer. They are
Right.
a powerhouse when it comes to social media management tools, social media management tips. They normally have, I think, weekly episodes where they'll speak about different updates. So there's the new updates on Instagram about View Professional Resources. I was supposed to do a video about that and I'm trying to do it, but things got so busy. So I'll probably see what's in my drafts. But yeah, they are super great when it comes to helping you get your agency together, because quote unquote running a social media management and virtual assistant company is almost like an agency that specifically deals with the niche problems that a small business owner will have. Because
Mm.
once business owners migrate to online, they normally think that this is the platform where I'm coming to reach my customers, because customers are online, like it or not. Cold calling might work, but as soon as I understand, I'm like, "Yeah, what the hell is going on? Leave me alone." You'll drop that phone and then you'll block them, and then that communication is cut off. But if you can be in a space where you're already speaking your customer's language and you're speaking to their pain points and you're solving a specific problem while you provide value, it's so much more easier to be able to market. So I think I will always encourage going online, but not to sell, to connect, to create a valuable experience for your customers, and have just a very good strategy. Because once you sell, you become very spammy. People block now. They
True.
report ads. No one likes an ad. Even on YouTube, you press skip ads after those 3 seconds. So it's very important that you would like to also sort of remind them that, hey, I do have this fancy smancy thing here that's available for you to buy. This is how you can buy it. But instead of saying, here's my product, buy my product, here's my product, buy my product, you can be like, hey, so this is why
Educate.
you might need this product, yeah. And this is
Yeah.
how you can take care of it. And this is what it's made of. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, things that are very educational for your customers. So I think with all those three resources that I've named, the book, the Millionaire Mindset, the club room that always happen on Clubhouse, and like the Buffer podcast, that's where normally I'll get my source of inspiration, and just they really point me in the right direction when it comes to online trends and things that are happening in my industry.
Right. Yeah, you touched on very important points. I want to pick up on two. One, the fact that if you are an entrepreneur, you are not like an employee who has a 9 to 5. When you literally work crazy hours, usebenza 12 hours a day, even more sometimes. It's really crazy, and people, that's one thing that they don't understand about businesses or about entrepreneurs, that ukwenza umsebenzi is not about the title ukuthi manje I'm a CEO or I'm a founder. It is really about putting in the work, the amount
Mm,
of work that you put in your brand, in your business. It takes so much of you, it takes so much of your
yeah,
time. You don't even have time to be with your friends, you don't have time to be with your family, you don't even have
yeah,
time with yourself ukuthi uyilalele. Ifoni ringa non-stop, you have to attend to clients. Yabona nje, it's a constant thing nje elokhu yenzekile nje, and it's
mm,
crazy. So that's one point that I'm taking from this. And the second point, uh, is the fact that when we are online and when we are marketing our businesses, it is not really about saying, hey, I'm selling this phone, hey, I'm selling this, but it is really about educating people about what you are doing. It's about
yeah.
educating them ukuthi le phone ongidayisela yona, this is what it can do. And I really like that, because that's where many people are stuck. They are stuck because they are putting so much money in marketing, but it's just the approach that they're using that is not working for them.
Mm,
um
yeah.
yeah, do you want to add on that?
No, no, I'm just agreeing with you. I
Yeah,
just agree.
absolutely. So what's the myth that people have about digital marketing and virtual assistants? Because I know we can talk to people about what these can offer, but they have their
Mm.
own reservations. So I want you to please touch based on what is the myths that people have about digital marketing as a business as well as a virtual assistant.
Yeah. Um, so I think when it comes to digital marketing, I think the first really big myth that people have is that they believe too much in vanity metrics. That's just being your follower count, how many people
Right.
like your posts. They put a lot of belief in that. But as much as having a big community is great, if I take two accounts, one account that has 20,000 followers and one account that has 5,000 followers, if that 20,000 account can't reach a bare minimum of 5,000 likes in a community that is engaged, but that 5,000 follower account has 5,000 people engaging constantly. So
Mm,
it's not about the quantity, but it is about the quality of the people that you have in your communities. So I
right.
think a lot of the time that people will have, they put a lot of importance on the metrics that are self-serving, that look good, right? So they think, oh yes, they have so many followers, that means money is raking in. Each follower is not your customer, they're not your client. They're just the person really who are following you. They haven't made any significant investment in what you're selling, what you're buying, or what you have to
Right.
offer online. So I think that's one
Right.
of the myths, and I think one of the things that being a digital marketer, sometimes you have to reiterate and say that, listen, having a big audience is amazing, but having a more engaged audience is a loyal base, like a community base that is
Mm,
always looking forward to what you have to say, what you have to do, and are constantly engaging. That is priceless. That is
mm,
priceless. You can't put a value on that. And
right.
then when it comes to virtual assisting, I think one of the things that I have seen is that I think people don't really understand what a virtual assistant is. They don't understand what scope of work and why some virtual assistants charge so much. And how do people even know that if your virtual assistant is all the way across the world, how do you know that they're actually doing the work that you say they're doing? So I think it's more, yeah, I think it's more just educating people and just building connections and telling them that, hey, when you're a virtual assistant, normally if you don't charge per month, you normally charge per hour, and that's the easiest. There are different softwares that help you add your client on, and they can see what you're working on as soon as you start working. So I use Clockify. I use Clockify. I'll start a project, add my client so that they can see what's going on, how long did I take, how much have I worked for that week, so that it's a more seamless process and we just build trust and reassurance, because I never want them to feel like, yes, this is Miami and I haven't seen anything. Yes, I need them to understand that, hey, I might be thousands and thousands of kilometers away, but I'm here to make your life easier. So I think those are one of the two main big ones. And I've always really preached, because people think about like followers so much, I've always preached never, ever, ever, ever buy fake followers. Never, ever, ever. Even joining a follow train, people who say, everyone who likes my comments, I'm going to follow them. And then they just build a community that big. That is one way to really damage the data. You're really damaging the data that you're starting with. Now you can't test different strategies because everyone that's there is not there for you. They were there just to get your following. They're not going to engage with your content. Who are you? Most of the time, they're not going to see your posts, because now Instagram works. They put things up there that you engage with. So if they don't like your pictures, they don't comment, they don't buy, they don't tune in if you have live streams. So I think that's the biggest mistake that people make, especially when it comes to buying followers, because bots can't engage with you. Bots can't, they're not a community, they're fake things. And it will damage your account, because now Instagram will see those bots. Instagram always updates its algorithm. They'll see those bots and not really push your content to more people, because that's just how it works. As soon as you post something, Instagram will show it to the first group of people. And if those people engage, then it will show it to a larger group of people. But if the first few group of people that saw that picture or that piece of content are just bots, they can't engage. Therefore, you won't reach a larger pool, and it will just be very stagnant. So that's one of the things that I'm always trying to preach and say, guys. Even I recently started my business. I recently started my online platforms. I have less than 200 followers on Instagram, but I've managed to monetize that small audience and have them be people who are actively looking for what I'm doing. So it's not necessarily the numbers, but it's just the value of having real people there.
Sure. Yeah, you've touched based on really important points there. Because I'm always on Twitter, right? And I'm seeing people who are running those trains who are saying, at this time we're going to run a follow, whatever, like this tweet, retweet it, and then gain followers, of course. And you question the quality of those followers, because those followers, they don't even know you, they don't even know what content you produce, they just want the numbers, and that's a problem. Anyway, in closing, thank you so much for alluding on that point. In closing, where people can get hold of you if they want to do business with you, if they want to take advantage of your digital marketing business and the virtual assistance business.
You can find me on Instagram as Thembela_M. You can also find me on TikTok as socially Thembela. I also have my business page on Instagram. You can just search Digital Estate Solutions. And yes, feel free to pop me a message. I'm there to help. Or if you have any questions, I do offer free services. So I will help you sort of audit your online platform and steer you in the right direction. But obviously, for a more diverse sort of service, I do have different packages and paid options.
Yeah, thank you so much, Thembela. You've been kind to us with your time. Thank you so much. Listeners and viewers, please follow Thembela on all social media platforms. I followed her work personally, and I really like her content, and I'm actually learning a lot. I'm still going to learn a lot from you, and ngiyabonga kakhulu for your time. sure that we are going to see you from now and again. Now and again, how's the business going? And you are doing amazing job. And at the age which you are in, and already you are doing umsebenzi omuhle. I mean, it's commendable. So thank you so much for that. Ngiyabonga kakhulu for gracing us with your time.
Thank you so much, Susie. Thank you for having me.